conditions, establish an end date, make sure you have clear communication. Perhaps if somebody's, if a grown child is living with you, there's a time frame there. Maybe you're collecting rent, even if you stick it in a savings account and you decide to bless them with it at the end. If you're helping financially, there needs to be a pathway, because inadvertently we may be encouraging poor financial disciplines and leading them away from good financial decision-making habits. We don't want to do that. Your desire is to help, not harm. So let's just make sure we exercise some tough love when needed, even if that means cutting off support when an adult child is not willing to go out and work and support themselves on their own after a reasonable period of time. So interesting and troubling stats. Hopefully you can take something away from that that'll be an encouragement if that's the situation you find yourself in. All right, let's head to the phones today. 800-525-7000. 3 lines open. You can call right now. Let's go to Ohio. Miguel, thank you for calling, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi there.
My name is Miguel Campbell, and I'm from Ohio. I own a painting company, and it's kind of slow right now, so I'm trying to get some advice, what to do and how to move forward. I'm kind of, low on cash flow and financially, in a deep hole. So
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Miguel. I know that's challenging. I think there's 2 kind of pieces to this. Number one is, what do you need to do to stay afloat and, make sure you don't get deeper in a hole? And I think that involves just the, recognition that perhaps you need to supplement that, a business that you own and run with some steady income. So do you need for a period of time to go out and get a second job, something where, you could get paid regularly just to cover some of the basics, at the very least to keep, food on the table, gas in the truck, and, keep the utilities paid, the rent paid, and, make progress on the debt, while you work on the business. I would say in terms of the business itself, let's make sure we keep the personal and the business separate to the best of your ability. I know that's difficult to do with a small business. Everything kind of can run together. The problem is that can create challenges for you from an IRS standpoint. You want to be able to deduct certain business expenses, and especially if you have a loss, it's hard to demonstrate and defend that if everything is kind of piled together, both personal and business expenses. I think in terms of where you go from here, I think you need to nail down your niche. What is your niche? Is it residential interiors? Is it exteriors? Is it commercial? Build that reputation, get online and get visible, network like crazy. I think you just need to really leverage all the tools, but the key is we want to get you to a place where you have sustainable income. Hang on the line. We'll finish after the break.
Nathan Finance is grateful for the support of certified Kingdom advisor Wade Chessman and Chessman Wealth Strategies. He strives to help his clients' biblical values guide their financial future. Wade has written a downloadable brochure that addresses specific issues Christians face in managing their finances. You can get it at chessmanwealth.com/Christian. Investment advisory services offered through CWM LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Pay attention to, especially the country of Israel. Each week, I'll help you make sense of what's happening in that region through a biblical lens. I'll bring you important information about security threats, archaeological discoveries, biblical prophecy, ministries happening on the ground, and much more. I'm John Riley. Join me for the Middle East Report Special Edition every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Central on American Family Radio as I connect you to the people, places, and geography of what we read in God's Word.
Empty stomachs, waterborne illnesses, hopelessness. These are harsh realities for impoverished African children, but you can make a difference. Join with Cross International to share the love of Jesus with a child in critical need today. Each gift of $62 provides a child with life-saving resources. Give now at crossinternational.org/faith or 866-843-9500 and help kids go from barely surviving to thriving.
Financial fear is real, but so is God's promise to provide. At FaithFi, we know the daily stress of money can overwhelm your heart, but Jesus reminds us to look at the birds of the air. They don't worry, and yet our Heavenly Father feeds them. In Look at the Sparrows, a 21-day devotional, you'll find peace by focusing on God's faithfulness as you discover how to overcome financial anxiety with faith. Visit faithfi.com/sparrows and begin your journey with Look at the Sparrows today.
The American Family Association's mission is to inform, equip, and activate individuals to strengthen the moral foundations of our culture. We also support the church. Our goal is to be a leading organization in biblical worldview training for cultural transformation. We believe that our ministry, as well as everything in the heavens and on earth, belongs to God, and our role is that of a trusted manager.
Thank you for standing with the American Family Association.
Faith and Finance is grateful for support from Sound Mind Investing. For more than 30 years, they've offered financial wisdom for living well. SMI provides step-by-step guidance for do-it-yourself investors, from those just getting started to those getting ready for retirement. More information, including a short video webinar on profit and peace of mind, no matter what's happening in the market, is available at soundmindinvesting.org.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
Thanks for joining us today on Faith and Finance here on American Family Radio, helping you apply God's wisdom to your financial decisions and choices. We've got two lines open. We're going to get right back to the phones here, 800-525-7000. Before the break, we were talking to Miguel in Ohio. He's 43 years old. He's an independent painter working full-time. Work is really slow. He's gotten into some debt, just wondering how to manage this. We're going to talk about the debt here next, but just to go back where we were before the break, Miguel, give me your thoughts before we talk about the strategy to manage the debt on, number one, do you need to find some other income to supplement while you're working on building the business, back up and meeting your obligations so you don't go deeper into debt? And then number two, do you have good, clear delineation between your personal finances and the business? Give me your thoughts on both of those.
I don't really have good delineation between my personal and my business. That's one thing I need to work on.
Yeah, okay.
And then you said financially wise where I need to get back.
Yeah, do you need to think about maybe picking up some additional work with a steady paycheck, even if it's hourly, just to kind of get through this period here?
I maybe need to, but the only difference is the season is about to change right now, because I do both interior and exterior.
Okay.
So it's a little bit cold right now in Ohio, so you can't really do any exterior painting. And I have, exterior jobs that line up for next month.
Got it.
Because next month should be warmed up.
Okay.
But it's, so I don't want to, go out there and go pick up a job now for just a month and have, because that's not good for me as an individual, with any employer.
I certainly get that. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think the key would be in this, I realize this is easier said than done, but if you recognize that your business is going to be somewhat seasonal, obviously you can do the residential in the winter, and that's where you need to focus your marketing leading up, to the winter months so you can stay consistent. But to the extent every year you're going to have a dip in revenue and business in the winter, what can we do to live on kind of this monthly average for the year, so that you don't, go into the hole each winter. But let's talk about the debt. What do you have in the way of credit card and other debt right now?
right now I'm in debt for about 7,000.
70,000.
Credit card. Yeah.
Yeah. And are you trying to service that and stay current on that every month?
I'm trying. I just fell off like about 2 weeks because it gets so really bad. So
Here's what I would do. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a lot of debt. We need to get you out of that. I would contact my friends at Christian Credit Counselors, and let's start there. One of the things they will do is not only the card will have to be closed, any card you put into credit counseling, and so you need to be willing to live without at least, a couple of these, hopefully the bigger ones. And that may be problematic just where you find yourself, but we've got to break the cycle of the incurring more and more debt. The key would be they will re-age the account, so anything that's past due will be brought current as long as you can maintain that payment moving forward. And typically it'd be about 3%, which is $2,100 a month. So I realize it's a significant amount of money. But they'll get the interest rates down, and obviously if we can turn the corner here and get your business moving again with the opportunity for the exterior painting coming back with the warmer temps, maybe this is that season where you get on top of things. The key will be, let's dial your lifestyle spending back as lean as possible, cut expenses wherever possible, and let's try to work towards separating the personal and the business activities so you've got good books both ways, and you can take full advantage of the business expenses from a tax standpoint, because we don't want to get behind with the IRS either. So I would reach out to our friends at ChristianCreditCounselors.org as a next step. Let's see if they can help you work up a plan to actually start to make some progress on this debt, so we can move toward getting you out of this hole in the next 6 months, at least on the right, in the right direction. So hopefully that's helpful to you, Miguel. I know this is challenging. You can do this, my friend, but call anytime if we can be of assistance. Let's go to Louisiana. Chantel, how can we help?
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure, yeah.
I've heard you say that you should freeze your credit sometimes. And unfortunately, I'm on the other end of that, to where if you don't do it, what will happen? I have a company suing me for a credit card that I did not open, and I have a petition in court and everything, and I just don't know what to do about this situation. They use the wrong name. Like, they have my name but a different middle name and a different address, somewhere that I've never stayed before.
Wow.
Where can I start?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I'm so sorry to hear you're going through this, and unfortunately the credit freeze isn't going to help you for this situation. It's going to help prevent this from happening in the future, because anybody opening a card in your name with your social security number, regardless of whether they have the address right, the lender is going to require that they take a look at your credit report, and the freeze would require that they have a PIN number they wouldn't have. And so hopefully, that will stop someone in their tracks from doing this again, in the future. In terms of where you go from here, I mean, it sounds like you're working through it. I mean, first, you don't want to ignore it. If you get a legal summons, you have usually 20 to 30 days to respond. You verify the debt isn't yours, so you can, check your credit reports. Have you looked? Is it on your credit report?
I don't see it on my credit report. I pulled my Experian credit report from annualcreditreport.com, and I don't see it there.
Okay.
Unless it's under one of the other reporting companies.
Yeah. And but it is a credit card, though. Is it one credit card?
It's one credit card.
Yeah.
For about $4,000. Yeah.
Okay. So you need to respond. So you got a judgment in the mail, or what is it? How did it come to you?
The sheriff knocked on my door saying that I have a petition.
Okay.
Petition filed in my name.
Okay.
So I went down to the courthouse to pick it up.
Okay, got it. Yeah, and so, what you would want to do is consider getting some legal help. And I realize that can be expensive in and of itself, but you want somebody to walk alongside you. You would, under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, you can demand debt validation in writing within 30 days of the first contact. So, you want to ask for the original application, your signature, the account records. You'd want to mail that via certified mail for proof, because if they can't prove that it's yours, i.e., they can't show the application with your signature, then obviously that weakens the case there. I would probably file a police report for identity theft. You'll want to check with the credit bureaus. It sounds like you did that, but you're going to want to look at all three if you haven't. And obviously, if it's not there, that's another thing in your favor. I think getting somebody to walk alongside you, in terms of legal help, because if it goes to hearing, you're going to need to bring your evidence, which would be the police report, the credit reports, anything showing you didn't open the account. The company has to prove you owe the debt, and without your signature or solid records, they're going to struggle with that. So, I'm not a lawyer, of course, and this is a legal matter, so you need legal counsel at the end of the day. But there are processes and pieces in place that I think you need to start working through. You've checked the credit report. I think the next thing is, filing for the identity theft, the police report, and I think demanding the details from the credit card company showing that it's yours, which they won't be able to do, and then perhaps find somebody legally who can walk alongside you. Keep us posted, Chantel. We'll be right back. Our thanks to Certified Kingdom Advisor Wade Chessman, President and Wealth Advisor, and his team at Chessman Wealth Strategies in Dallas for their support of faith and finance. Their goal is to help their clients expand their understanding of biblical financial principles and how to implement them. The website is chessmanwealth.com. The phone number is 214-572-2120. Investment advisory services offered through CWM LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Several European countries discovered that COVID vaccine shots were dangerous for, I think, males under 30. I'm just saying, RFK Jr., he would have fallen into the category that I just described, right?
Yes. He is the one Kennedy that no Democrat wants anything to do with.
Why is that?
The fact that he endorsed Trump.
Okay. Well, then they need a shot for TDS.
Today's Issues, weekday mornings at 11 Eastern, 10 Central on American Family Radio.
We're grateful for support from Guidestone, whose diversified suite of investment solutions align with Christian values to create positive change in the world. More information is available at guidestonefunds.com/faith. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Carefully consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of Guidestone funds before investing. They're distributed by Foresight Funds Distributors, LLC, which is not an advisory affiliate, a registered investment advisor, nor do they provide investment advice.
Have you ever wondered where your money goes when you deposit it in a bank? Christian Community Credit Union believes in helping advance God's kingdom through everyday financial transactions. For over 67 years, they have provided values-aligned banking solutions to thousands of Christians and ministries. Consider Christian Community Credit Union as your banking institution by visiting joinchristiancommunity.com. Membership eligibility required. Each account is insured up to $250,000. This institution is not federally insured.
Thanks for joining us today on Faith and Finance here on American Family Radio. Let's head right back to the phones to Texas. Hi, Carlos. How can we help?
Good morning. How are you? Thank you.
Sure. Absolutely, sir.
I wanted to ask, I used to work in New York in the school district, and I moved to Texas 3 years ago, but I want to collect part of my pension that I have there, but I still working here in Texas in the school district. I asked the lady if that will affect me here, and she said no, because it's two different states. Just want to make sure.
Yeah,
I'm 55, I'm going to be 55.
Okay. All right. Very good. Yeah. So what are the, in terms of the New York pension, it really is going to depend on the rules of the New York State teachers retirement system and any impact from the Texas employment. So I believe you're allowed to work after retirement, but there may be earnings limits and restrictions. Are you under 65?
Yes, I'm 55. I'm gonna be 55 early.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah. So have you been in touch with New York, their retirement system, just to talk about your eligibility?
I did. They told me that it's two different pensions, two different states. So that's what they told me. I just want to make sure that it won't affect me here. And I was reading some of the rules, the policies that they have there. I believe it's you cannot make more than I think it's 35,000.
Yeah, I think that's right. But that would only apply to you, working again in the New York area. So my understanding of the way this works is, as long as you've met the service requirements, typically the 10 years for vesting and then the full benefits at 30 years or age 62, the New York State teacher's retirement is not going to care about out-of-state work. And that earnings limit would only apply if you return to the New York State public employment. So I think you're probably in good shape, but ultimately the New York State retirement system would be the one to confirm that your pension is active and unrestricted for out-of-state work. But if that's what they're telling you, then that's what I would count on.
Yeah, I just want to double check because I don't want to, because I still have another pension here. I'm building another TRS pension in Texas.
Right.
And
yeah, I mean, ultimately they're going to be the one that would tell you that, but based on what I'm seeing, that is accurate. And that earnings limit would only apply to you returning to work in the state of New York as a teacher. And so then it really just comes down to, do you meet the service requirements? And if you do, doesn't sound like you should have any issue. I would confirm that with them, and assuming you have, then I think you're in good shape, Carlos.
I really appreciate it. So now that if I retire at the age of 62 here in the future, God willing, so I believe they allow to collect Social Security and pension also at the same time, right?
Yes. So there's been some changes on that recently that would have resulted in that windfall elimination. And so, yes, you should be able to, moving forward, be able to collect both. But I would check with the Social Security Administration. They can give you the most up-to-date information. You could, schedule a meeting there in person, or you could get somebody on the phone to review your specific record, and they could give you the details on your record, how much you paid into the system, and how this change in the windfall elimination that happened in the very tail end of the Biden administration will affect you. But it should be in your favor for sure. So sounds like you're in great shape, my friend. We appreciate your call. Call any time if we can be of assistance. Let's go to Arkansas. Hi, Jeremy. Go ahead, sir.
Hi. Yeah, I kind of have a twofold question. First, I wanted to ask, with the faith-based investing, would it be worth my time if all I have is about $500 to get started?
Yeah, it certainly could be. You're going to have to check the share class of any of the mutual funds you engage with. The easiest thing would probably be, more and more of these faith-based investing asset managers are creating ETFs, exchange-traded funds. And so that makes it really simple to invest with a much smaller amount of money. So, for instance, we were talking to Finney Curavilla today, Eventide. They have their flagship mutual funds, like their, Gilead Fund and their Health Sciences Fund. But a lot of times those, depending on the share class, can require higher minimums than you might have. But now they have an exchange-traded fund. And that would be a great way for you to get good diversification, to be able to take advantage of their faith-based investing strategies, but with a very small amount of money, where you'd open a brokerage account at, let's say, Fidelity or Schwab, and you could buy, one of those ETFs. So what I would do is, you could go to EventideFunds.com to learn more. If you want a list of all the faith-based investing asset managers, I can give you a website to go to download a free PDF. It's faithandinvesting.com/faithfi. faithandinvesting.com/faithfi. That will give you all the faith-based asset managers that we track. Probably, I think there's around 15 of them, and any that have exchange-traded funds, I think that would be your opportunity.
Okay, and then the second part of the question is, if you had a credit card that was about $500 that you could pay off with that, would you invest, or would you just go ahead and pay off the credit card?
Absolutely, I would pay off the credit card because, whatever that interest rate is, I mean, it's probably 25%. You're not going to get a guaranteed 25% return in the market, and that's what you're going to get by paying off that credit card. So yeah, I'd wipe that out, but then I'd make sure I'm living within my means. I'm not, I'm building an emergency fund of, 3 to 6 months expenses. So you've got a cushion. We don't ever go back into credit card debt. We only use credit cards for budgeted items, pay it off at the end of the month. And then once you have that emergency fund, now is the time to then start making systematic investments, into, let's say, a retirement account, either through work or an IRA or something like that.
Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right, you too, Jeremy. Thanks for your call. Let's go to Texas. Roland, how can we help?
Hey man, I was just wondering, I'm a young man, just turned 18. I'm looking for some resources to educate myself on, investing and whatnot.
Yeah, let me do this, Roland. I love that you're young and just getting started here with investing. I think that's awesome. I'm going to send you 2 different resources. I'm going to send you, the first is a book called The Sound Mind Investing Handbook by Austin Pryor. And it's really going to help you start to learn the basics of investing through the lens of biblical wisdom, just kind of the blocking and tackling, if you will, of investing. It'll be a great beginning point. And then I'm going to send you a second resource that's called Open Hands Finance. And it's really created for young adults, those kind of just heading into college or starting in their early kind of working years, just to help you understand God's heart as it relates to money management, putting your plan in place, everything from spending to the dangers of debt to investing. And if you will kind of dive into these resources, I think it'll get you set up for everything you need to know and really have a strong financial foundation under you. So these are our gift to you, Roland, for being on the program today. The Sound Mind Investing Handbook and Open Hands Finance. I think the 2 of those together will give you everything you need. And call us back sometime in the near future and let us know, what you took away from those. Thanks for calling today. Let's finish in North Carolina. Larry, you'll be our final caller. Hey, Larry.
Yeah, this is
go ahead.
Larry. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Larry, did we lose you?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead with your question.
Okay, I'm 75 years old. I've been very fortunate. God's been good to me. I got about $1.5 million in a managed account. I would like to transfer that and just put it into some CDs that I could manage myself. But I've been told that I would have to pay capital gains tax on that. And I pay capital gains on the gains for my gains every year. I paid like $60,000 last year. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, so this is a taxable account, correct? It's not a retirement account.
It is not a retirement account. It's just an investment account.
All right, and what do you own inside that?
I don't know.
Is it mutual funds or stocks or money market?
It is both. It's mutual funds and stocks. Mostly stocks. And at my age, I'm tired of riding the stock markets up and down.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm blessed. I don't really need the money at this point in my life. I have a substantial income from real property that I don't.
Yeah.
This money is probably going to be given away, but I would like to just put it in something that I could manage.
No, I hear you on that. Well, there's different types of taxes on mutual funds in particular, so you're going to need to get with a CPA who can help you sort it all out. What you've probably been paying on is the capital gain distributions, which usually happen annually. And so they pass through the profits and you pay capital gains. But then when you sell the mutual funds, you're taxed on the gain, the share price minus what you paid for it, which is the cost basis. So you're going to need to understand kind of the nuances of what taxes have already been paid and what taxes you will have to pay upon the sale and then that'll tell you what you're going to have left over to move into the CD portfolio. So I'd reach out and get a CPA to kind of help you navigate that so you don't have any surprises. Thanks for your call. Well, big thanks to my team today, Devin, Sandy, Jim, and everybody here at FaithFi. Couldn't do it without them. If you'd like to become a partner, go to faithfi.com and click give, and come back and join us tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
90.5 KTXG Greenville, Dallas.
State employee, you have the opportunity to support the American Family Association through the combined federal campaign by designating a monthly payroll deduction using 12037. You help AFA continue to fight for your family. So when you complete your CFC form, remember, AFA's number is 12037. And thank you for your help.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. National intelligence leaders were pressed on the Signal Group chat that the Atlantic editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg says he was accidentally invited into. Lucas Tomlinson has the latest.
One day after testifying before a Senate panel, top national security officials returned to Capitol Hill today to face lawmakers in the House. They include some of those on that Signal Group chat. Tulsi Gabbard, DNI Director John Ratcliffe, CIA Director Kash Patel, FBI Director, as well as the heads of the NSA and DIA. Expect to hear more questions about why those officials are talking about future military operations against the Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in an unclassified but encrypted signal app. President Trump says yesterday he stands by his national security advisor, Mike Waltz.
It's equipment and technology that's not perfect, and probably he won't be using it again.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling for a full investigation.
The Homeland Security Secretary is in El Salvador to see where gang members are being held after being deported.
It's a high-security prison known as the Terrorism Confinement Center, about an hour's drive east of the capital, San Salvador. No visitors, no education programs, and a symbol of El Salvador's crime crackdown. It's now home to people the Trump administration describes as the worst of the worst, alleged members of the Tren de Aragua gang recently removed from the United States. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem visits today to see the deportation program in action. She'll also meet El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
New Jersey stands an excellent chance of electing a Republican governor this year, and so potentially breaking from its long, slow decline. Though solidly blue for years, GOP candidate Jack Chiarelli says the Garden State has shifted red of late in response to hapless Democrat misrule under Governor Phil Murphy.
More than 2 million people in New Jersey voted for Donald Trump last election day, so there's a lot of energy around him and his policies. I was with him last Friday night, and I thanked him for what he's doing to make the country safe again, and in particular, what he's done here in New Jersey.
Kentucky's Democratic governor vetoed a Republican-backed abortion bill Tuesday. Carmen Roberts has more.
Kentucky Republican lawmakers touted the bill as an attempt to clarify the state's near-total abortion ban. But Democratic Governor Andy Beshear says it would do the exact opposite. Beshear, an abortion rights supporter, says the bill would undermine the judgment of doctors and endanger the lives of pregnant women in emergency situations. Republicans have a supermajority in the state legislature and will have a chance to override the governor's veto when lawmakers reconvene on Thursday.
And finally, a federal judge has temporarily blocked the Texas A&M University Board's decision to ban drag shows on all campuses.
In February, the Board of Regents unanimously voted to ban drag shows on all system-wide campuses. Student newspaper The Battalion reports that student group the Queer Empowerment Council, with help from the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, or FIRE, sued in the Southern District of Texas earlier this month. On Monday, U.S. District Judge Lee H. Rosenthal, a George H.W. Bush appointee, granted a temporary injunction while the lawsuit goes forward. The Christian Post reported that in addressing the school's objections, the judge posed the question, when do performances in which men dress as women cross the line from entertaining to demeaning? Jonathan Covey of Texas Values.
The threshold issue from a legal perspective is whether drag shows are expressive conduct protected under the First Amendment. And the test they do is whether they seek to convey a message that would be a message that would be clearly understood by observers. And, you know, we don't believe that it does.
He cited a court opinion regarding West Texas A&M University.
In that case, they said, no, drag doesn't clearly convey a message. So this is a highly litigated area, but there are particularly high concerns when a drag show is hypersexualized, when it's available to be attended by children.
I'm Robert Thornton.
More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hey, we're announcing a weekend with AFA on Thursday, October the 2nd through Saturday, October the 4th. We'll have a weekend get-together with AFA leadership and supporters. It's a chance for all of us to get better acquainted.
It's a weekend with AFA, Thursday, October 2nd through Saturday, October 4th in Tupelo, Mississippi. Speakers will include Abraham Hamilton III, Jenna Ellis, Tim Barton, Tim Wildman, and more. Register at afa.net/weekend. Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildman, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Today's Issues program here on American Family Radio. This is a live show on American Family Radio, Wednesday, March the 26th, 2025. Tim Wildman here with Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
Wesley Wildman.
Yeah, good morning.
Fred Jackson.
Hey there, Tim.
So, gentlemen, I would like to invite anybody in our listening audience to be included on our group text. I'm about to create a group text that's just going to be private for us.
Yes.
But if anybody's listening out there and wants to join and listen in,
important leadership information, decisions we've got to make.
We've got to make some important leadership
Which makes a lot of
about
sense.
the ministry, and I just want to invite anybody who wants to join our listen.
By the way, we may want to include on that text thread our plans to go after the SPLC, our strategies and tactics.
All right, so what we're talking about, making a joke, which is rare for me, about something serious, but not the end of the world story. What are we talking about here, Fred?
Well, I think most of our audience are familiar now with the controversy that has been created because the Atlantic is a leftist publication. The editor-in-chief...
It's more than an ocean. It's a magazine.
It's a magazine, yes.
An online presence.
And the editor-in-chief is Jeffrey Goldberg. The big story is that somehow he received a message that was only meant for security people within the Trump administration. It had to do with the attack on the Houthi rebels back, about 10 days ago. Everybody's trying to figure out how he was added to the list, the distribution list of this message.
It was only meant for a handful of high-level Trump administration team members.
That is correct. We have been told, including by White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, that no classified information was posted to the Signal chat. All right?
When we say Signal, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
一緒に今
Go
行
ahead.
って、
I try to...
今日あれだから